Hey, what's up, guys? It's Nico from Porch Talk. I just wanted to tell you guys, hey, thank you so much for your support. Really goes a long way. Sorry to interrupt the episode at the beginning. I just want to let you know, if you could leave a rating and review specifically on iTunes. It really goes a long way. It really helps the channel grow, really helps the podcast get to more people. And yeah, I love you all. Thank you so much for your support. I'm loving doing these episodes, and so is Marcus. And yeah, please rate, review on iTunes, and love you all. Enjoy. Hey, what's going on, guys? This is Nico, and welcome to Porch Talk, episode 28. Solo podcast today. And I just wanted to sit down and tell you a story about what happened to me this week. So it's interesting. Stick till the end. And again, please tell me what you think about what had happened to me. Give your thoughts. Message me, text me, DM me. I don't care. Yeah, enjoy the episode. Please give it a full listen. It'll make more sense if you listen all the way through. Thank you so much for your support. Love you all, and enjoy. So, let me tell you about this crazy story, right? This is probably the craziest thing that's ever happened to me. Never experienced anything like this before in my life. It was Tuesday, the 5th of March, 2019. It was the day, it was super cold. It was like 10 degrees outside. And I had been waiting for this package in the mail since the previous week. And I had a tracking number on it. So I was just checking the status frequently. And it said the expected date to get to my parents' house was that day, the 5th. So I was casually waiting in my house, just hanging out. It was about 10 o'clock at this point, and I checked the tracking number, and it says it had arrived at my parents' house. So I was like, all right, cool. I'll go ahead and get my car and go pick it up, I guess. So get my car, drive to my parents' house. Only about a 5-minute drive. And when I get there, there's nothing there. I'm like, that's kind of odd. So I rechecked my phone, and the page had refreshed. And it still said in transit. Should be here today, though. It should be to my parents' house on the 5th. So I was like, all right, whatever. I'll just go back home. When I get my car, something told me I needed to go to the Englewood Dam. So I just went with it. I was like, all right, I'll go take a hike or something. It'd be good to stretch my legs anyway. So I arrive at the dam. There was not a soul in sight. Nothing but a blanket of white snow. I park in the first set of parking lots, which is furthest away from the trails. So there was this very long straightaway before the trails actually split off into multiple ones. I get out of my car. It was a blast of frigid cold air. Meanwhile, I'm layered in a long sleeve shirt, a hoodie, a winter jacket, a face mask, and a beanie. Still, it was piercing through all my clothing. So I close my door, and I'm thinking to myself, do I really want to go on a hike right now? It is absolutely freezing. But again, just something in the back of my mind was saying, go on this hike today, right now. So for once, I listened to that. I listened to the voice inside me, and I was like, we are going on this hike right now. I walk up to the opening straight away in the woods before the big split off into all of the different trails, whether it be green, purple, or I think yellow. And I'm walking. I probably get 3/4 of the way up until the split off. And there's these small not fallen trees, but small trees that were sort of arching over and connecting to each other. It sort of looked like an archway or like a doorway. And I'm like, oh, that's kind of weird. I mean, I guess that happens. Trees naturally fall and somehow can be propped up by other trees, so no big deal. I walk through, so I'd just go ahead and walk through, and something felt different. I don't know what it was, just from me stepping through that little archway. Maybe it's just me imagining things, but something felt different as soon as I walked through that underneath the trees. So I didn't pay any mind to it. I did notice that there was something different, but I didn't pay any mind to it. And I kept walking down the trail. Finally, I get to the point where I could go down the purple or green route, or purple and green route, or the yellow and I believe red route. And I choose to go the green and purple route because I know that the purple route is one of the shortest hiking trails on the hike. So I went, and plus there's the waterfall as well. I wanted to see the waterfall. I'm walking. I go underneath this road. So there's a little tunnel with a walkway that allows you to go underneath this road, so then you can pop out on the other side and continue with your hike. I had gone underneath the bridge, underneath the road, and I started to get warm. And I'm not talking just like the wind isn't hitting me anymore. I'm talking about I physically got warm. And when I came out on the other side of the tunnel, I was like, whatever. I'm still keeping all my shit on because it's actually freezing cold outside. So I continue hiking. I hike up this hill, and I reach the waterfall. Beautiful. The ice was so thick, you couldn't hit it. You could hit it with a hammer and it wouldn't break. That's how thick it was. But there was still water running. There's a far waterfall and one that's right up when you get up the hill. The one that's right up when you get up on the hill was flowing like crazy. There's a bunch of water coming down this little stream. Whereas the far one only had a little bit of water, probably because it was all frozen over. But like I said, it was a beautiful sight, something I haven't seen in a minute from the Englewood Dam, just because I haven't been there. And I was like, oh, that's super cool. So I go around, I'm following the green trail. I go over top the first waterfall, and then on the second part you have to go through the second waterfall to continue on the path that I was trying to go on. So I step onto this thick ice from the second waterfall, and I'm literally I'm stomping, I'm trying to jump on it. Nothing, not even a dent, not a crack, not a divot. This ice was the thickest set of ice that I've ever seen and came into contact with. So I sat there for a minute. I was just taking in the view from the top of the waterfall, and I was like, I'm glad I went. I'm going on this hike because I haven't done it in a while. I haven't been to the dam in probably a year at that point, and it was just a good refresher. So I carry on. I come to where the green and the purple split off, and I was like, the purple's, like I said, the shortest route. So I think I'm gonna take the purple route. Right when I was heading towards the purple route, I heard 3 knocks in the distance. Sounded like it was coming from a tree. I mean, trees knock when they're cold and they're contracting and expanding and all that. It creates a knocking noise, but I've never heard 3 knocks come from seemingly the same tree from what I could hear at least. And again, that inner voice inside me was telling me, let's follow those knocks. So I went down the green path, and I was every probably I'd say 10 minutes there was that 3 consecutive knocks. I'm about let's say zero point 0.4 miles into the green trail from when I split off from the purple trail. And I was lost in my chain of thought. I was thinking about things I needed to do for that day. I was thinking about the podcast, and all of a sudden I hear rustling in the near distance. So it snapped me out of my trance-like thought, and I look up, and there's this group of 3 deer, probably let's say 30 yards away from me. And they look at me, all 3 of them do. I made eye contact with the youngest of the group, and I just got this overwhelming feeling of being trapped, you know? And we locked eyes for probably, it felt like 2 or 3 minutes. And we just stared at each other, and I couldn't help but feel like they were trapped, or I was trapped. I don't know what exactly it was, but there was a feeling of being trapped when I was staring into that little deer's eyes, or younger deer's eyes. Then after we got done with that interaction, all 3 of them just casually turned and I guess trotted away. It wasn't really they weren't running from me, but they weren't walking from me either. It was a nice little trot, and they were on their way. After they left, I was like, what the fuck just happened here? I've never seen deer at the Englewood Dam. And B, why in the fucking world was I getting this feeling of being trapped when I was looking at this deer's eyes, into this deer's eye? I just chalked it off. I was like, maybe I'm malnourished from being vegan. Maybe I didn't eat enough today. Maybe it's so cold. I was just I don't know. I made up excuses in my head. That's just what I was telling myself in my head. But then I started feeling hot. I felt like the jacket was too much. So I pulled down my face mask that was shielding my face from the wind. And I also unzipped my cold weather jacket, which felt a lot better. I didn't feel hot anymore, but I didn't feel cold either. And as I was unzipping my jacket, I was like, why am I so hot right now? I checked the temperature. I think it was 8 degrees at that point. Piercing wind. This doesn't make any sense why I would be hot. And it wasn't like I was hiking fast. It was like a very leisurely walk. So it didn't make sense why I was so hot at that moment in time. So again, I just threw it out of my mind and just kept walking. Walked probably 0.1, 0.2 miles after that, and I came to a crossroads. It was either stay on the green path or follow the yellow path. And meanwhile, when I had approached this cross section, I had heard the 3 knocks from the tree right in front of me. I mean, it was indistinguishable. I mean, it was right there. I had never experienced that that three knocking, that three knocks from a tree, a dead as can be tree. And I was like, yellow shorter than green, so let's go down yellow. Let's follow the yellow path. It'll take me right back to my car. I might as well do it. So I start heading down the yellow path. And then there it is again. In the distance. And at this point I was kind of getting nervous. In my head I was telling myself, why is there this knocking? Why did I have that interaction with the deer? Why is all of this happening to me right now with no one around? And it seems to happen every time I'm in my thought. I can't describe it. I don't understand it. Why is this happening? I was thinking about it as I was walking. I was trying to connect the dots, see what in the world could possibly be happening with this chain of events that makes logical sense to me. And while I was thinking about that, I heard another rustle in the very close distance, probably about 15 to 20 yards from me. And it was the group of 3 deer again. They were walking across the path that I was following right in front of me, and they stopped and they made eye contact with me again. And this time, I couldn't help but hear the words "help, help, 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 help me, please," coming from one of the older deer. They were white-tailed deer, by the way. And at this point, I kind of started freaking out. I started walking backwards away from them, and I didn't want any part of them. I didn't want anything to do with these deer. They acknowledged my fright and they scurried off, but that was without sitting there for a minute or two, looking. It felt like through my soul, saying, "Help me, please help me." And once they scurried off, I'm like, it's time to leave. I'm not comfortable anymore. And I just want to go home. So I definitely pick up my pace drastically. I went from a very leisure walk to probably somewhat of a power walk. And I'm following this trail. And again, the 3 knocks are happening in the distance, in the direction I'm heading. And if you've ever been to the Englewood Dam and you followed the yellow trail, there's a point where it's this sort of downhill snake path with usually gravel and, in this case, snow and a bunch of leaves. So, power walking at this point, get caught up back in my mind, like, again, why is this happening to me? Who is trying to talk to me, speak to me? And of course, from the leaves, I start slipping. And of course, that kicked me right out of my train of thought. So I had to be present in the moment, take my steps carefully, really focus on getting down this slippery snake trail of nothing but snow and leaves. Well, I get about halfway down this little hill, and a little bird, I don't know what bird it was, what type of bird, but lands probably 4 feet away from me, and it starts walking closer, starts pecking at my left foot, and it had stopped probably, I would say, 7 or 8 inches from my foot, looked up at me, and I had gotten a sense or a feeling of freedom, and it's okay to be free, and it's just everything's going to be okay. And the voice inside me is telling me to listen to everything that's been happening so far. Listen to the tree knocks. Listen to these feelings you get from seeing these two different animals, and to just be in the moment and just go with it. So I'd sort of relaxed once I had that interaction with the bird, and I'd finally made my way out of the yellow path. And where the yellow path exits, it is a playground / parking lot with a couple trees scattered throughout the playground and all that. And I walk out and I see this cardinal. And I mean, it's not really a big part of the story, but I don't know why something about that cardinal just stuck with me. Maybe it was because I was expecting something to happen, me to feel some sort of feeling from looking at this cardinal, but no, it's just a cardinal. But so after that, I just pressed on, and I took the handicap route which is nothing but a wooden bridge, and it takes me back to the straightaway before everything breaks off into their respected hiking trails. So I'm walking down this handicap trail, and I'm just minding my own business, trying to get back to my car. And all of a sudden, I see a woodpecker pecking at a tree, and I'm just minding my own business. And the woodpecker flies right in front of me, stops for a second, and flies away. When that woodpecker stopped in front of me, I just felt as if it was saying, How could you be walking on this man-made object in my woods? Like, this should not be here. And if you think it should, then you shouldn't be here either. I don't know. It was I know it's gonna sound crazy to a lot of people, but I mean, this is what I personally experienced. I could be malnourished. I could just be really cold and I'm not thinking straight. I might not have gotten the best sleep the night before. I don't remember that. Anyway, so I had finally gotten back to the straightaway, and I'm making my way back to my car. And I'm still hearing those 3 knocks in the distance, and it sounds like it's coming right before that opening, that those fallen trees that had created an archway. And I had gotten back to that archway, and again I heard from the tree right next to the archway, and it seemed to be saying to me, "See you soon." So I, without hesitation, walked through that archway, and as soon as I went through that archway, it went back to bitter cold. And mind you, like I said, I had unzipped my jacket, I had taken off my beanie, and walking through there, it just became bitter cold. And there's no difference tree density wise from where that archway was. So I don't see how it can be that big of a difference in temperature. So I put my beanie back on, pull up my face mask, and I zip up my jacket, and I'm hightailing it. I'm hightailing it back to my car. Mind you, when I'm going down this straightaway, there's no more knocks. Can't even hear the birds chirp. And there's just not a sound in the woods on the way back to my car. So I had gotten back to my car, I'd gotten in it, and I tried to process everything that just happened. And I still haven't fully processed it, but I'm working on it. I had been, for some reason, I'd wanted to get back into meditation, so I started meditating on it. And I honestly believe that it was my spirit, I guess, my inner self that I might have been neglecting throughout this whole process of splitting from Caden's mom, and been working constantly, been waking up early, and I think it was reaching out to me. My inner self was reaching out to me to tell me that, hey, I'm trapped in here, and you need to do something about it, like now. That's what I've gotten so far. But anyway, on with the story. I'd gone back 2 days later, so it was the 7th of March. And when I was walking down that straightaway again, right up to the door, right up to that archway, and I hear rustling to my left. I look about 35 yards away from me. There's that same group of deer. It felt like it. It felt like that was the same group. And when I looked at them, I just felt like they were saying, "Welcome back. I knew you would come back." And I'd walked through that same archway. And this time, progressively throughout this trip, I had taken the yellow route backwards. So the way I came out of the yellow route, I went around, and I finished at the waterfall. Throughout that whole process, I had gotten in a headache, and it kept increasing in severity the farther I got through the hike, until I got to the waterfall. And when I had got to the waterfall, it felt like that whole pain in my head, the headache, just dissipated. And I don't know if it was because there was more people there, and maybe I wasn't, and maybe the weather, since the weather was warmer, maybe that messed with my head, gave me a headache. But that's still, I can't understand why that was happening to me through this second trip. And maybe I'm just not trying to figure it out. Maybe I'm trying to see it through not being logical. Maybe I'm trying to see it as, again, my spirit talking to me. And even if it's not that, frankly, I think I'm going to take it that way. I just, something feels like it's something spiritual. And I know spiritual has been thrown around like a sack of garbage, but spirituality can mean many things to many people. It can mean religion. It can mean inner peace. It can mean a lot of things. And I frankly don't know what it means to me. It means something inside of me needs to come out. It needs to make itself known, make itself present within myself. And I really want to find out what that is. So those 2 days really have been, I guess, insightful, impacting, as well as just goddamn interesting. So friggin' interesting that it's actually gave me a newfound love for consciousness, spirituality, and I want to really progress my knowledge further in those two fields. So this whole thing that had happened to me this past week has driven me to buy some books on consciousness and spirituality. I've also been listening to podcasts over consciousness and spirituality, and it seems like from what I have been looking into, it sounds like exactly what was happening to me spirituality wise. And I don't know if I should be excited or scared. And I think it's a mixture of both. So that's all I wanted to talk about today. Please leave a comment down below. Comment on whatever platform you're on, and tell me what you think, or reach out to me. You know my Instagram. It's always on in the description below from whatever you're listening on, or just call me an idiot. Call me some stupid piece of shit. Like, there's so many logical ways to go about this reasoning, and you're just being some dumbass that is trying to be, I don't know, but tell me what you think. Message me if you want. See if you can decipher what I had experienced through me telling it. And yeah, this has been Nico. I hope you all have a great rest of your day, night, evening, morning, whatever in the world you are listening, when you are listening. And yeah, peace.